We don't even know the consequence of social media. We don't know. You know, there's an argument called a straw man's argument, which means that if somebody is trying to say something that is different from what you are saying, what you do is that you create inside your imagination that this is what this person is saying, that you start attacking what you have created, which is not what that person is actually saying, so that that person aligns with that thing you have imagined. People say, oh, they don't want us to say, to say anything. People can preach whatever they want to preach, and nobody must contradict, nobody must correct, and all of that. And you are creating a strong man's argument because that's not what he said. In other words, if a husband and a wife have a disagreement, will it be correct that any small disagreement, the husband goes into public and says, let me tell you the type of woman that I have inside this house? And he's doing that publicly, thinking that the shaming of that woman is the way and manner in which that woman is going to change her ways. Or that parents, they are dealing with their children, and then they go to social media, and then they are talking about what the child is doing at home on social media, saying that that's the way they're going to correct, the child. You just create hardness of heart. For example, let me tell you this. In the history of the church, during the 60s healing revival, once those healing revivalists started going into excesses and began to, literally be raising money and taxing people for money unnecessarily, the Assemblies of God pastors came into a strategic meeting in America, and they said, we will shut these people down. And they all agreed as a decision now. And they told their congregation members, once the Assemblies of God was very strong in America, they shut their doors to those things, everything dried up. They did not go publicly there. You will see Paul saying that, listen, do not have any fellowship with this person again. Which means that if you collectively withdraw fellowship from that person, you correct that person. Can I take it? He said all of his children, the reason why none of them veered off, we were treated badly by ministers. He said, but I told my wife, we will never discuss the faults of any minister in front of our children, so that they do not grow up with that deep suspicion and all of that about ministers, because they may not have the capacity and the maturity to be able to handle, that kind of information. And many of you that do this thing, I've warned them, is your congregation that will rise up against you one day. And if you make any mistake in that church, the way they will solve it is by coming to the public.